Welcome to the channel, I'm SmileyFaceX, and I want to show and explain to you another game that I play, which is World of Tanks. I want to do this so that you can understand what's going on when you see gameplay of it, and maybe it will introduce you to a game that you might want to play yourself. Okay, I'll be breaking up the game into two parts, being the garage and the in-game. If you just want to jump straight to the in-game, no dramas with that, I'll put the timestamp down below, so check there. Alright, in the garage here is where you select what vehicle you want to take into battle and what loadouts. There are plenty of options starting from all the way in tier 1 all the way through to tier 10 with a number of different branches going through the different types of vehicles that I'll get into in the gameplay. But just know there's a lot of options, and as you progress up this tech tree and you go up the tiers, you'll notice that tanks start getting better and better, and your knowledge goes up with that as you play. So although you can purchase gold, which can accelerate progress and get you to those end tanks a lot faster, it's not always a good idea because you won't have the knowledge of the tanks that you're facing, all the maps that you're playing in order to actually, compete with people that have put in that time and have that knowledge, which again, this is a game that really rewards your knowledge more so than anything else. The game's 10 plus years old and gets constantly updated, so the developers are still committed and passionate about the game, still putting effort into it. Alright, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, jumping into the gameplay, we're starting off using our heavy tanks. These are the big guys, a lot of armor, a lot of HP, normally decent weaponry as well. Trying to slap it out against the others that are, normally you try to be in the close range fights because generally heavy tanks don't have very good aim, so you need to be closer in order to minimize that. One of the concepts I want to explain to you is the concept of an armor layout with vehicles. So armor is generally thickest at the front of both their hull and turrets, and the way around this is that you want to be able to shoot at their weak spots. So a lot of this gameplay you're going to see me shooting at their commander's hatch, which is the little normally bubble looking thing just above their turret. Okay, if the round does manage to fly there, it will go through and deal damage most of the time. Another good weak point is the lower plate of most tanks is also rather weak. Okay, when you are battling back and forth like this, you can also angle your armor slightly. So instead of being square on to your target, if you just have a slight angle, that'll increase the effective armor that your tank has because the round will have to penetrate through that much. When looking at enemies, you can see there's a little indicator. It changes from red to yellow to green. If it's green and my round goes there, it's going to penetrate through. Okay, so that's your little penetration indicator, where all rounds, they have two values, okay? They have a penetration value, so how much armor it can actually go through. And if it can't penetrate, it won't do damage. And the second value is how much damage it actually does. So here you can see me utilize that lower plate weakness to go through the Tiger II. And that's the heavy tanks. The next mechanic I wanted to explain was spotting mechanic and view range. So the class I'm using for this is a light tank. These tanks are generally not very well armored, but they are very mobile and have very good concealment and view range. Okay, so anything that's within that green circle in my minimap, that is my view range, and I can spot those vehicles for my team to shoot. The only thing that would stop me from spotting them is if they were outside of line of sight, so if they're hiding behind a hill or a building, or they have enough concealment that I can't see them. So concealment can be helped by bushes, as you can see me now. So my vehicle has very good concealment, which is why even though I'm so close to the enemies, I'm not getting spotted because I have so much concealment. So the aim of spotting is to enable your team to deal damage to tanks that they normally wouldn't be able to see. They'd normally be invisible until they are spotted. So it's a very tough gameplay because if a light tank gets spotted, because they normally have to be pretty aggressive in order to get that spotting, if they do get seen, they've got no armor, so they can just fall over, which is why you need to use your mobility as well to have an exit plan. So as you can see here, I spotted the Chi-Ri from pretty much maximum view range, which means that Chi-Ri has almost no concealment whatsoever. You can see my team's shooting him. I'm getting full assistance damage, which means nobody else can see him except for me. So without me, that Chi-Ri would have gotten into position pretty much full health, and we've eliminated him before he even got anywhere near it. The aim of most battles is to add your damage done and assistance damage, and hopefully have that above your vehicle's HP. That means you've kind of pulled your weight in the battle, and anything above that is kind of a bonus trying to win the game. In saying that, the most important win rate for most players, the thing that you use to flex on other players with and stuff like that, was in most games it's kill-death ratio and such. Not the case in World of Tanks. The most important stat is your win rate, which is super good because that means everybody's playing for the win. So it doesn't make sense to do damage or any of those other things because certain tanks are better at dealing damage than others, such as light tanks here. These aren't not very good at dealing damage, but they're very good at assisting. So as you can see there, I started firing, and when you fire, your concealment pretty much goes to shit, which is when I got spotted and that light bulb appeared. Okay, once that light bulb comes up, that's when I know I'm spotted, so I run away, break the line of sights, then I remain unspotted, and I can get back into position. Here I'm taking on a heavy tank, but I know because they have weak rear armor, using my knowledge, that I can shoot straight through that, even with a weak gun that I have on this light tank. And now I want to push forward, use all my view range to try to help my team to find enemy tanks. I found a couple of artillery pieces, which when I was spotting those vehicles, you see all the shots that were raining down from above. Those were artillery pieces, so they sit back and normally try to take out more heavily armored targets, which I'll show you some gameplay of in a second. I'm just trying to use the mobility, wait for my reload to be done, go in and scrap a couple of kills. Now that the game's just about done, it's a good time to just be relentlessly aggressive and try to farm any more damage that you can. There are quite a few destructible pieces of terrain, such as that thing I just drove through, and this little hut that's getting in my way, so I can't actually see the Scorpion because the hut was in the way. So once I destroyed the hut, then I can put a couple of rounds in. And now we're just trying to catch up to the last remaining enemy vehicle, the little light tank. Try to get a little bit more damage and take him out of the game. There is an auto aim feature, so you don't have to have the best aim, but you got to be wary of using it because obviously it might be pointed at their heavily armored area. You can only pretty much get away with it when you're versing light tanks. Here we have some artillery gameplay. They have long as fuck reloads, and they're good to dig out heavily armored tanks that are in a, pretty defensible position, such as this E3. Yeah, pretty slow gameplay, but some people really like it, so fill your boots. The next class is tank destroyers. These guys have really solid cannons. As you can see there, they normally pack a huge punch, but they have big drawbacks. So either to mobility, or to view range, or to armor. A lot of them are pretty paper for armor, so. But they are a hell of a fun tank if you manage to get some shots in. You can see here, Conway, that's another tank destroyer, very good cannon, but paper for armor. Pretty much look at it and it'll just blow over in the wind. This class of tank is more of a slower type class, more for sniping and such like that. It doesn't really push the agenda of the battle, so it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is pretty fun. Moving on, we have the medium tank, which is kind of the mid-ground between the light and the heavy tank. Like I said, there's a lot of different tanks in the game. Some are closer to the heavy side, some are closer to the light side, but you get that flexibility in what you want to do with the game. So as you can see here, I want to use some of my firepower now that I can see these enemies to try to eliminate some. And then here, I've ran out of targets, so I'm going to push forward and try to spot some vehicles for my team in order for them to take shots on. The beautiful thing about this game is that it really respects your time. Once you've been eliminated from a battle, it could be, you know, within the first minute or two, you can click out of that battle, go back to the garage, pick another tank, and queue up and get straight into another battle. So you can have like pretty much 3 battles going at once if you're having some shocking games and dying at the start. But it means that if you're very limited on your gameplay, on your game time, I should say, you can squeeze in a lot of rounds real quickly in a variety of tanks. So that's super good, I think. I don't have to sit there for the whole 10 to 15 minutes and watch my team have fun. I can hop out and have my own fun in a new game. So I really like that about the game. And also the fact that I don't have any skills to keep up in the game. So there's nothing like, say you're playing a first-person shooter and you need to keep your aim up, otherwise you're going to be, you know, just getting flogged over the park. Okay, this game really rewards vehicle knowledge and map knowledge. And stuff like that, you don't have to, once you've got it, you kind of just hold on to it. And then you just use their reloads and such to get shots in and use your mobility to exploit that. That's World of Tanks. So I hope you enjoyed. And I don't know, hopefully I made you a fan. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye.